You are wrong. You are probably wrong about a lot of things, and in a lot of situations you can't always be right. You just cannot. The difference between a computer and a human is the fact that computers are accurate, humans are not. And that is because not being accurate is a characteristic of us, of humans. We are not supposed to be right all the time. We cannot be right all the time. It's impossible. It's just not the way we're built. I recently realized that I used to be the kind of person who had a hard time accepting when it was my fault. And what it did is it made things a lot more difficult than they would have been if I just accepted that it was my fault. I was so consumed by my ego that I did not do what was required to make my life easier. Rather, I was just so hung up on being right that I completely messed up. And if you're a human, I just know that there are things that you are wrong about, and there are things that you need to change because you can never be correct all the time. So it's time for you and me and everybody else to just start owning up to our mistakes and owning up to what we're doing wrong. And why? Because it benefits us. It's going to benefit you, and it will benefit you in ways that you have never thought about. I'm going to talk about a couple of benefits that you get when you embrace that you can be wrong and you understand that there's room for mistake, no matter what situation you're in or no matter what person you are. So, the first benefit is accepting that we can make mistakes. It fosters this growth mindset, which is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed and improved through hard work and dedication. It basically challenges the idea that our traits are static and not changeable. When we accept ourselves and we accept the fact that we are wrong, we open ourselves up to new perspectives. Now, see, if I am sure that what I'm saying is correct, I am never going to try to understand the other person's perspective or the the whole situation from a different perspective because I'm so sure. But what I'm missing here is that I don't know if I am right. I don't know. And when you accept that you don't know, you you open yourself up to more perspectives that can actually help you develop your own ideas even if they're right. It's actually a win-win. You don't have to give up what you're thinking. You just have to be open-minded enough to understand other people's perspective or just see things from all different angles so you know you're not being short-sighted. It is also crucial for creativity. Imagine if you were so correct and right and you were so confident about something that you only tried once and then you don't try to give more. It's not going to be the same thing. You need a series of failed attempts to actually make any advancements because you need to fail. This also makes you so prone to be fearless because you're not afraid to take risks anymore because you're okay with being wrong, because you know you're going to survive if you're wrong, because being wrong is a part of the process. It's not over. It's not like you just go back after you're wrong. You go ahead, you move forward. When this happens, we start viewing things as challenges, as opportunities and not threats, which is usually what happens when we think something's a threat that is trying to hurt your ego. It's attacking you, but in reality it's not. Yes, ego. The big word here is ego. Oftentimes we are afraid of accepting what we did or that we messed up because of our ego. Our ego that does not allow us to be imperfect because I guess because we feel like it's going to take some value out of us if we're imperfect, but that's not true. It only makes you more valuable when you know you can accept your own faults. I think that's a great trait to have, to be able to accept your own shortcomings. Our ego tells us that if you accept and acknowledge some mistake that you made, it's going to be counted against you and make it look like you're not capable. But that's completely insane because you being wrong has nothing to do with you being capable, because as I said, being wrong is a characteristic. It's you being human. It's literally the same thing as being hungry. The cultivation of humility is extremely important here. Humility is recognizing that we are not all knowing, we cannot always be correct about everything. And there's always more to learn, there's always more knowledge to gain. It is essential, it is very essential for personal growth and to not be stagnant. People who are humble are more likely to seek feedback and learn from those and not take them as a personal attack, and instead work with those to make themselves better. Also, when you understand that you can be wrong, you also understand that others can be wrong too. It which in turn makes you more empathy for others when they are in a situation that you're not familiar with. But then you realize, oh, they might make a mistake because they're human too. And since you're not hard on yourself, you're not hard on the other person because you're not toxic and you're not like, oh, I could do it, why couldn't you do it? Because now you understand that not everybody has the same experience and not everybody is going to feel the same way. By accepting that you can be wrong is also helpful in mitigating and diffusing disputes and stuff when there's arguments. You know how powerful it is when you can just say, you're right, I am wrong about that. And you know how often people don't do that? Admitting your mistakes can also have a lot of psychological benefits. You're no longer under immense pressure of being correct all the time, of being right all the time, and just losing it when proven otherwise. You're no longer in that kind of situation because you're okay and you acknowledge the fact that you might be wrong or you might not be correct in a situation that's not in your control. Not everything's in your control all the time. By being open and accepting of our faults, we become much better human beings, and we become so much, instead of looking for what's wrong in the other person, we must always look inwards because we can change not the outside, only ourselves. What we see on the outside is just a reflection of what we are. So if you're making mistakes and you are constantly blaming others for that, you are not changing your inside. You're not changing the role that you are playing in that situation. When that happens, the same situation will keep happening unless you accept that you also play a role here and what you can do to change that role. And when you do change that role, the situation changes itself. Accepting that you're wrong has a bunch of benefits. To do this, you might be confused on how to do it, so I'm gonna give you a quick way on how I do it. So when you're thinking about a situation, let it be any situation, any argument, or just a conversation with somebody, and you wanna put yourself in the shoes of the other person, and literally, I mean literally, put yourself in the shoes. So you close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and like just declutter your mind. And what you do is you physically imagine yourself putting yourself out of your own shoes and putting into somebody else's shoes and seeing yourself through their eyes, and then using that to trying to understand the other one's perspective. Because I don't know, it just kind of helps me realize that I am only seeing things through my own lens. It's what I am seeing and experiencing has been influenced by my own experiences, my thoughts and ideas, and a bunch of things. It's not the same way the other person is experiencing life. So, why am I being so hard on themselves, and why am I trying to push my ideas on them? Because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because we are not living the same life. It's not the same experience that we're experiencing. Oftentimes, it just, you don't understand. But sometimes you realize that, okay, maybe I could have done this differently. Maybe when you start accepting, you start realizing the things that you could have done differently. And what it does, it makes you a better person. It makes you so much more refined, and it makes you so much more human to accept your to acknowledge that you made mistakes and to try and improve that. It's so human and it's so beautiful. That's all for today's video, and thanks for watching.